Welcome back. I'm Kevin,
I'm Meg.
and this is Off Camera Facts.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about, did we know what we got into when we started KLV Photography?
No.
We didn't, right? So
Yeah.
I think a good topic to start it off is when we start our business, it's 10% being a photographer and 90% of the iceberg. Do you want to elaborate on what the iceberg means?
The iceberg theory is you have an iceberg, 10% you can only see on top, 90% you can see on the bottom. So 10% being you're a photographer, you shoot pretty pictures on the weekend, and then the rest of it is everything else,
Yeah.
which is what?
And which is, we're going to dive right in because I listed several things that I felt we didn't expect being a business owner.
First one?
First one, being a photographer before being a wedding photographer. So
Okay.
what does that mean? It means that you have to know your own skills. You have to be confident in your own skills, know lighting inside and out, because you're also dealing with so many different situations at a wedding venue that you haven't even been to before.
Yeah.
You're also faced with communication skills. Do you know how to speak to your customers? Do you know how to direct? Do you know their good side, their bad side? Like, some couples don't even know their good side or their bad side, and they'll leave it up to you. So you have to be,
Most of them.
yeah, you have to be a great photographer
Yeah.
or a confident photographer
Yeah.
before being a wedding photographer.
So you were confident before you were successful?
I would say I wasn't truly confident, but I do know the basic foundations of settings. I know my camera inside and out. I know how to use lighting equipment. So I felt I was suited for, I was
Basics.
ready. Yeah, for the basic of photographing our first wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other part of the 90% of the iceberg is just, that's passion, being a photographer, right? But that passion is actually 10% of the business, like you said, and 90% falls into the legalities, like contracts, the
Yeah.
verbiage.
Yeah.
We refined our contract so many times over the span of 15 years being in business.
Yeah.
And we improve that contract based on what we dealt with, right?
Problems. Yeah.
Pandemic, COVID, really,
Big one.
yeah, that's a huge one that
Even a
brought,
simple one like delivering images. Like, how are you going to deliver images, and what happens if that can't happen?
because,
Because whatever.
yeah, technical things, we're surrounded by so much new technology that we have no control over these equipment. You know, it's hard to say, hey, my equipment is always going to work 100%,
Yeah.
which most of the time we take responsibility, and that this is a part of the 90% as well, is taking care of our equipment.
Yeah.
And we take care of our equipment as best as we can, especially being a wedding photographer, running and gunning with these equipment, being in like the coldest climate to the hottest climate during the summer.
Yep.
Like, we put a lot of stress on these hardware, so we always want to make sure we're taking care of it. So that's a part of the 90%.
How about the body? That's like your equipment too, right?
Yeah, our body is also like,
Yeah.
we did not know how much of a physical labor wedding photography is.
I did not know that wedding photography would take me out completely.
Yeah, you have to be in the best shape and flexibility,
Well,
right?
I mean, you want to be, but are you?
You want to be, yeah. I always want to make sure like I stretch before a wedding day. I'm always like trying to be physically fit, like throughout the week, doing cardio workout, because you are running,
Building stamina.
building stamina. You're
Yeah.
always engaging with your couple and their families and a bunch of their guests,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
So building that stamina is helpful, being a wedding photographer, and that is something that we didn't know.
What
was a
are the
part
What
of
are the
job.
biggest ones? I mean, I could name like a million of them what we weren't prepared for, but
But yeah, the largest one is definitely marketing.
Marketing, okay.
Marketing is huge. As you seen us go through different phases of marketing throughout our career, we started off with just blogging.
Yep.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Social media wasn't a big thing yet. It was just Facebook
Yeah.
at the time. And even that took a lot from me because you're trying to be very creative. You're trying to deliver a great product. But at the same time, you have to be a marketer. And that was the hardest thing because writing caption a million times for a million of photos can be very repetitive. And there's so many different ways you can explain an image, right?
Well, you know, it worked out in the beginning because now we're established, right? So you're putting out content every single day. Back in the day, it was like once you got a wedding, and we weren't getting a wedding every single weekend when we first were starting out, right? So it was like whenever you had a wedding, it was a benefit to put all of our like creativity into the marketing was because, oh, we got one. and then 2 weeks would go by, and then 3 weeks would go by or whatever, and then finally you get one again or something like that, right? And so it's not every single day.
Yeah, you definitely got more energy to put towards all these little aspects of our business.
It's more spread out, yeah.
Yeah, nowadays it's like
It's
we're
hourly if you can swing it.
yeah, we're definitely like every hour we're doing something.
Yeah.
Which is great. There's always new content to be put out there. But at the same time, it's like an overload for us, especially with so many social platforms that are available right now. It's free marketing, but it takes a toll on you because you have to learn different tactics for each platform, and I feel that takes probably a big chunk of that 90%.
Yeah, the marketing.
I'm not talking about the ads that you have to pay for.
Yeah.
I already know.
That's almost easier.
Yeah, after going into business, you definitely have to pay for ads.
Yeah.
It's the only way to put your business out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't just think you can put pretty photos and expect that you're going to get business off
Especially
of that.
nowadays with it being so accessible to become a photographer these days.
Yeah, because before it was like you have your own studio.
Yeah.
People didn't rely on Instagram, and now they can find you on Google Maps and Yelp or something. Yeah.
And now they're like, I want to know all about you. I want to know about your personality. I want to see if you even gel. Which is fine.
Which makes sense because everything is electronic and we're nomadic as being photographers. So our office space, we're never in one place throughout the day.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get a hold of us. So it makes sense to show who we are, and which is why we made off-camera facts.
Well, we made many iterations of off-camera facts.
But this is the first one, so we hope you enjoyed what we spoke about and how we didn't know what we were getting into.
Cool.
But we're here.
Yeah.
And we're always excited because business keeps us on our toes and we're always trying our best.
Yeah.
Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah. Cool. Good.